Welcome to my channel Quarter Old Money News channel. Subscribe. Simple Queen Dollar, 50 million $1 coin in a forgotten drawer, an inherited collection, or a box in the attic, and then noticing the unusual date, 1776, 1976. At first, it looks like an ordinary dollar. But look closely, because this famous Bicentennial Eisenhower dollar has varieties, silver versions, unusual minting history, and one extraordinary known error that has fascinated collectors for decades. And before we go any further, let me clear up one huge claim. You may have heard that a 1776 1976 Eisenhower dollar is worth $50 million. There is no reliable documented auction evidence supporting a $50 million sale, but that does not mean these coins are uninteresting. In fact, some versions can be surprisingly valuable. Welcome to Quarter Old Money News, where we investigate the history, mysteries, varieties, and real collector value hiding inside America's old coins. If you enjoy discovering what your pocket change and family collections might really contain, subscribe and turn on notifications, because today's coin has a story worth hearing. The coin we're investigating is the 1776 1976 Eisenhower Dollar, also known as the Bicentennial Ike Dollar. Unlike an ordinary $1 coin, this piece carries two dates, 1776 and 1976, representing America's 200th anniversary. It was part of a special bicentennial redesign that also appeared on the quarter and half dollar. The Eisenhower dollar itself had first appeared in 1971, honoring Dwight D. Eisenhower, the former president and Army general. The obverse portrait was designed by U.S. Mint chief engraver Frank Gasparo. For the bicentennial reverse, designer Dennis R. Williams created a dramatic image of the Liberty Bell superimposed over the moon, connecting America's revolutionary past with the nation's achievement in space. And that reverse is one of the first things you should examine. Look closely at the lettering around the Liberty Bell and the overall appearance of the reverse. Collectors generally identify two major reverse varieties on the Bicentennial Eisenhower dollar, Type 1 and Type 2. The Type 1 reverse has broader lettering, while the Type 2 has narrower, more refined lettering. These varieties aren't automatically worth thousands of dollars. In fact, neither is considered rare in the ordinary sense. But collectors pay attention to them, especially when the coin is in exceptional condition. Now let's talk about the basic specifications. The regular copper-nickel-clad 1776 1976 Eisenhower dollar weighs approximately 22.68 grams, measures 38.1 millimeters in diameter, and has a reeded edge. Philadelphia and Denver produced circulating bicentennial dollars, while San Francisco produced collector versions, including silver-clad coins and proofs. And here is where the story becomes especially interesting. Not every 1776 1976 Eisenhower dollar is made from the same metal. Many coins you encounter are copper-nickel-clad, but San Francisco also produced 40% silver-clad bicentennial Eisenhower dollars for collectors. The silver-clad version weighs about 24.59 grams, and the 1776 1976s silver proof had a mintage of about 4 million according to NGC. So if you discover a 1776 1976 Eisenhower dollar, don't immediately assume it is silver, and don't assume that every silver-looking coin is valuable. Color alone is not enough. A coin should be identified by its mint mark, composition, weight, variety, condition, and ultimately, when necessary, professional authentication. Now imagine the first possible discovery. Someone opens an old family box. Inside are decades-old coins collected by a parent or grandparent. Among them is a large Eisenhower dollar dated 1776 1976. The coin looks bright. The surfaces are unusually clean, and on the reverse, the collector notices something different about the lettering. This is exactly the kind of situation where patience matters. Don't polish the coin, don't scratch it. Don't clean it with chemicals, and don't assume that a dramatic-looking coin is automatically rare. Cleaning can permanently damage a collectible coin and reduce its desirability. Instead, identify the mint mark. A Philadelphia example may have no mint mark, while Denver examples carry a D, and San Francisco collector issues carry an S. The mint mark can tell you a great deal about how the coin was produced. The Philadelphia Type 2 example listed by NGC has a mintage of 113,318,000, while the Denver Type 2 has a reported mintage of 82,179,564. Those numbers immediately tell us something important. These are not automatically rare coins. And this is the lesson that prevents many collectors from being disappointed. A coin can be old without being rare. A coin can be historic without being extremely valuable. And a coin can have a face value of $1 without automatically being worth thousands or millions. So what actually creates value? Condition is one of the biggest factors. A heavily circulated Eisenhower dollar with scratches, worn details, and damaged surfaces may bring only a small premium over face value. A sharply struck coin with excellent surfaces and a very high certified grade can be much more desirable. The difference between an ordinary coin and an exceptional certified specimen can be enormous. For example, NGC's current guide for the Philadelphia 1776-1976 Type 2 dollar ranges from roughly face value in circulated grades to substantially higher amounts in very high grades, with its listed top-end examples reaching into the thousands of dollars. That does not mean every coin can command those prices. The grade, certification, variety, and actual market demand matter enormously. The same principle applies to Denver examples. NGC's guide shows ordinary pieces near face value in lower grades, while exceptional high-grade examples can rise dramatically. Now we reach one of the most fascinating parts of the entire story. There is a truly unusual 1776-1976s silverclad proof Eisenhower dollar with a Type 2 reverse and no mint mark that has been documented by NGC. According to NGC, this unique piece was discovered decades ago and certified in the 1990s. Its exact origin remains mysterious. NGC even reports that the coin was said to have been found in a cash register at a Washington, D.C. department store, although the story itself is difficult to independently confirm. Now stop for a moment and think about that. A normal-looking Eisenhower dollar can be common. A particular combination of date, composition, variety, mint mark, and era can be extraordinarily unusual. That is the difference between a coin and a collectible rarity. And it is also why you should be extremely careful with sensational internet claims. If someone tells you that every 1976 Eisenhower dollar is worth $50 million, that's not responsible numismatics. There is no reliable evidence that an ordinary bicentennial Eisenhower dollar has sold for $50 million. A headline like that can generate clicks, but it does not establish a market value. The real treasure is learning how to identify the exceptional coins. So what should you look for if you have one at home? Start with the date, 1776, 1976. Then inspect the mint mark or the absence of one. Next, examine the reverse for Type 1 or Type 2 characteristics. Check the coin's weight if you have an accurate digital scale. Look for unusual minting characteristics, but remember that scratches, dents, discoloration, and damage that happened after the coin left the mint are not necessarily valuable errors. Then examine the surfaces under good lighting. Look for strong original detail, minimal marks, and attractive preservation. If the coin appears genuinely unusual or potentially rare, professional authentication and grading can be worthwhile. And remember the silver issue. A genuine 40% silver 1776 1976 Eisenhower dollar is different from a normal copper-nickel clad dollar. The silver version was produced as a collector coin, not as an ordinary circulating dollar. Now comes the question everyone wants answered. What could your 1776 1976 Eisenhower dollar actually be worth today? For a common circulated copper-nickel clad example, you're generally looking at a value close to face value or a modest collector premium, depending on condition and exact variety. Better preserved uncirculated examples can bring more, and exceptional certified coins can reach hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on grade and market demand. The silver-clad collector versions carry additional value because of their composition and collector status, while unusual authenticated varieties or errors can be considerably more interesting. But $50 million. There is no credible documented $50 million market value for an ordinary 1776 1976 Eisenhower dollar. The real excitement is that an apparently ordinary dollar can sometimes contain a much more unusual story, especially when you discover a rare variety, an authentic mint error, an exceptional grade, or a genuinely unusual specimen, such as the documented no mint marks silver-clad proof. And that's why you should never throw an old Eisenhower dollar into a coin jar without looking at it first. Maybe the coin you inherited from a family member is ordinary. Maybe it's a silver collector issue. Maybe it's a high-grade example. Or maybe you've discovered something unusual enough to deserve professional examination. The key is knowing what you're holding before believing a sensational price tag. The 1776 1976 Eisenhower dollar is more than a $1 coin. It is a physical reminder of America's bicentennial, a tribute to Dwight Eisenhower, a connection between the Revolutionary era and the space age, and a fascinating chapter in modern American coinage. So the next time you see that large old dollar sitting in a drawer, don't spend it before you look closely. Because sometimes the most interesting part of an old coin isn't the number printed on an internet headline. It's the tiny detail hiding right in front of you. This has been Quarter Old Money News. If you enjoyed this investigation, subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video with someone who keeps old coins in a drawer, jar, album, or family collection. And tell us in the comments, do you have a 1776 1976 Eisenhower dollar at home? And what mint mark does yours have? Maybe your next coin is the one we investigate. And remember, exciting does not mean every coin is a fortune. In coin collecting, the details are where the real treasure begins.